What's good, everybody? It is your girl, Tika the Shun of All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts, here to bring you guys this recap from Tyler Perry's Ruthless, Season 4, Episode 1, entitled Make or Break. And oh my God, everything literally unfolded right before our eyes. We see where Malcolm is out there in the woods. The bear claw or the bear trap has caught onto his leg, and George pulls up on him and it has the blicky looking at him. Now, we thought on the last episode that Malcolm was going to get popped by George. However, that's not what actually happened. Again, we see that bear claw is that bear trap has Malcolm down. He cannot move. He is begging for dear life. We hear, like I said, we hear the gun, the blicky go off last episode, but this time we see where Malcolm is feeling around. It's like, oh, you didn't pop me. And George says the next time I will use it and put it in your brain. So we see that Malcolm has lived to fight another day. However, he is going to be forced to go back to the Rakadushi compound. Again, he's starting to feel sick because of the from that sandwich that he ate from that bad sandwich. He's starting to feel sick. He's kind of gagging a little bit, and then George tells him to put his hands behind his back. He's like, it hurts. I can't. So he hits Malcolm in his face, kicks him in the face, and flips him over and handcuffs him. So poor Malcolm, he can't live without. He was like, just go ahead and unalive me now because I know when I get back to that compound, they're gonna unalive me anyway. So Malcolm, poor Malcolm, yes, I said poor Malcolm, he's going through it. So anyway, you guys, anyway, back to the Rockaducia compound. Of course, Ruth is telling Lewis he needs to go and talk to his girl, meaning he needs to go and talk to Bridget. And he was like, what am I supposed to tell her? She was like, use that thing that you got between your legs and help her to calm down. So then we see River and Ruth, and they're having a conversation. We also see where Manny walks up on River and Ruth and says that the highest wants to see you, Ruth. And so she does just that. She makes her way over to the highest's trailer. But then we see in the car, because this is where Bridget and Lewis normally meet. Bridget gets into the car. Lewis is already there, and he's just telling her, as I thought he was gonna finesse her, baby, I promise it's not like that. Don't you want to get off of this compound? Or you just, you acting like you don't want to leave and you just gotta, roll with what we're doing. And I only slept with that other girl for information. And that was the only way I was gonna get the information, by having sex with her. Like, he's throwing it, laying it on nice and thick and heavy, but he's reassuring Bridget that he loves her and that she is the one. So then we see the Hynes, and in the Hynes' trailer, we see Ruth as well as Joan. And Joan is like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm going to do. But look, of course, Ruth comes in with the clutch. The Hynes says, I heard the two of you outside. You were arguing, sound like you were in a heated argument. And of course, Ruth puts it all on herself. She makes it seem as if she was just going off on Joan because she was jealous that Joan gets to go out to the bank with the highest and get alone time with the highest, and that she says that where she come from in the hood, she would kill a bee over her man. So Ruth is laying it on thick, and Hayes is impressed. He likes that statement. He likes what she said, but he says, because it's in front of Joan, Ruth, you're a woman. You shouldn't be talking like that. And she's like, I apologize, your highest. And then, of course, Joan tries to chime in. I apologize too, your highest. And the highest was like, I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to Ruth. So anyway, finally, Joan, he is allowed to leave because, of course, Ruth has saved her tail one more time. So then Ruth asks the highest, can I wash your feet before the prophecy? And of course, he agrees. They have a little moment where they kiss, but the highest, again, he was impressed by Ruth and her statement of killing a bee over her man, y'all. So anyway, we see where Ruth she walks up on Zane. Um just, letting her know it's all good. We don't have anything to worry about. It's time. It's time. So just be prepared. So then we see Daikon and Lewis, and they're having a conversation. And Lewis has a moment where he puts his hand on Daikon's shoulders, and Daikon says, "Don't put your hand on me unless you're ready to get this D." In other words, that's pretty much what he was saying. He says because putting your hand on one's shoulder is something intimate. So Daikon's trying to feel out George, Lewis, trying to feel out Lewis, and so then we have a moment where we go to the kitchen with Elder Mother, and as you can see, she's boiling the water, she's preparing everything for the cleaning of the feet of the highest. And then of course Ruth comes in and busts her bubble and lets her know, "I will be cleaning the feet of the highest." And Elder Mother, of course, she keeps throwing up in Elder Mother's face about the hog dying. "I know you're trying to make me lose this baby. Your head is getting too big, Ruth." And of course, she's forced to call her Elder, instead of Ruth. She can't call her Ruth no more. She has to call her by Elder. Ruth is like, "Give me my respect." So then we see, she tells her, "Is this everything that needs to go?" And she's like, "Yes, it's everything." So anyway, Elder Mother, "Who is this?" Just she's like, I was jealous of you." But Ruth knows that this woman tried to take her out. She knows whether it was to help her, force her to lose that baby, or unalive her. But Ruth knows that Elder Mother is not with her and her shenanigans. So she takes everything, and then we see a small, quick conversation where Joan is there apologizing to Ruth, and Ruth is like, "Listen, I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. I don't trust you. Get out of my face." And so she tells her to leave out of that kitchen. Ruth don't want to have anything to do with her. So then we see back at the sheriff's department where Desiree is just frustrated. She does not know what to do. She is trying to figure this whole situation out. She don't want to talk about their relationship right now. She only wants to wait until they get to until they can get some help. And then she calls Connolly Fat Boy over there. Like, what's Fat Boy doing over there? And so Cal says he has to keep going. He says he has to go to the bathroom, and he was like, "I wish he was a loose," because basically Cal is about that life. Cal wants Cully to try to escape or run so he could put one in him. This is what I'm gathering. He didn't say it, but this is what I'm gathering from his tone, that he wants to put one in Conley because Conley unalived his, or told someone to unalive his own deputy. So Cal is like about that life, and he's ready to do anything to get rid of Conley. So Aaron walks up and says, "Are you two a couple?" He's telling them, I know, I see you. I know y'all a couple. But Aaron, of course they're playing it off because they're at work. They're not trying to, go through all of that. Put that business in the streets, as they say, y'all. So anyway, they're just saying we're doing everything that we can to solve this case. We promise we're gonna get your wife out of there. Please just bear with us for a little bit. And Aaron is, of course, "I just love my wife. I love her so much. I just want her, I just want her returned to me safe." So Aaron is contemplating in his brain. He thinks he needs to go up there. But Aaron, didn't you learn from the last time about going back to the compound? It's nothing good gonna come out of it. So let these federal government people handle it. So anyway, back at the pavilion, we see where Lacey, I told y'all, they're always cutting up something. So now they're cutting up potatoes and apples. And River walks up to Zane, and he wants to talk to Zane. And of course, Lacey's like, "Get your BASS from over here, BAN. Get yourself from over here. Like, we don't want to talk to you. And why were you planning to leave her out of the plan?" And he says, "I wasn't planning to leave Zane out of the plan. I was planning to leave you out of the plan simply because you can't run but I knew that she was not going to leave you. And Ruth and Zane is like, listen, just go, River, just go. Of course, because she got her girl Zane, Lacey back in her side pocket. She's back with her girl, so she's acting a little different. But I understand why she's acting a little different because River kind of betrayed her by not telling her anything. So anyway, he apologizes, but then when he walks away, um Zane says to Lacey that he is telling the truth. You couldn't run, and I wouldn't leave here without you. It's like, cause that's my girl, you know. So they have a little moment between the two of them, and then back at the sheriff's department, we see this agent, um, Dooley, Dooley, I think that's what we said his name was. Anyway, we see him walking around the bend. Conley is still sitting, and he just has convinced this agent to allow him to sit there. Like, see, that's that whole thing right there. Put Conley tail back in the cage. Y'all got Andrew in the cage. Lock Conley back up. So anyway, Conley has time to get into Aaron's ear, but he keeps telling him you can't go back up there to that compound because they will, they'll hurt a lot of people up there. Don't go back to the compound. Don't go back to the compound. So Aaron was like, listen, I don't want to hear nothing from you because basically you were the reason why I got thrown in that trunk. So Aaron is not, he's listening, but he's not trying to hear anything that Conley has to say. Aaron don't like Conley at all. So then in the kitchen, we see elder mother Marva, and she's having a conversation with Daikon. She's basically telling Daikon that they need to get rid of this baby. And Daikon is like, you better not. You better not talk like that. You better not think like that, because if you do, if you say something like that again, because he initially goes to her and asks her, did she or was she the one that tried to feed the people, the captives, Dyke and Malcolm as well as Peter, and she denies it, of course. Well, how did the plate get in there? Well, she's denying it. I don't know. I had nothing to do with that. So then, and I don't know if she's putting two and two together yet. But anyway, she's definitely stuck on trying to unalive Ruth. And Daikon is like, if I hear you say that again, if you talk like that again, I'm going to make sure the highest knows. So y'all, the crazy thing about this whole situation is, quote unquote, if there were to be a baby, if there really is, or if there really was a baby and it's supposed to be either Daikon's or the highest, why would Daikon give Elder Mother Marva permission to expel her baby, to expel Ruth's baby? Okay. Anyway, so then y'all, he shuts her up really, really good. She thinks or why she's comfortable with having this conversation with Daikon. I'm thinking because she thinks that Daikon is upset that Ruth is, or that the highest looks at Ruth in a certain way, and that she can get him on her side. She has yet to be successful because she has tried this on multiple occasions. So anyway, we see where Ruth has finished washing the highest feet. He said, okay, now wrap my feet up, put them in my slippers, because once they are cleansed, they are not supposed to touch the ground. And she says, okay, your highest. And he lets her know that, and she asks, well, can I come back after the prophecy for the cleansing to cleanse you again, so on and so forth. And the highest, of course, he does approve. He says that, how did you make my feet so soft? And she's just letting him know, he's letting her know, Ruth, I see you. You're no dummy. I don't think you're a dummy at all. Because she says that there are some things that women can do, and there are some things that men do. But he says, because that baby in you is a boy, it's making you smarter. How arrogant, your highest. Because the baby boy from him in her stomach is making her smarter. Interesting, interesting. So she does all of her chores, you guys. And then we see everyone is gathering at the pavilion, and everyone is preparing for the prophecy. These two finesse twins, as my girl EJ, the TV junkie, calls them, are gathering their people. We are ready. Are you ready? Yes, we're ready. The whole squad's ready. Anyway, they tell Manny, and Manny's like, but I don't know the whole plan. And George Lewis is like, George is like, just trust me, just trust us. But I don't think Manny is all in on this plan. I keep saying this. I do not trust him. This looks like a man who is ready to deceive everybody. So then we see everybody is gathering up, walking up. Daikon tells Manny to go over and stand in front of the trailer of the highest. Then we see these two, of course, having their own little side conversation. And George Lewis walks up to Daikon and tells him that, he just asked him, "Are you okay, Daikon?" And Daikon's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And of course, he taking a note from George, or taking a note from Lewis, where George was always asking Daikon if he was good, and we're doing everything we can to protect you and cover you, and so on and so forth. And Daikon got this look like, one of y'all getting ate tonight. That's all I'm saying. So then George walks up to Daikon, and Daikon invites him to his trailer after the prophecy. He also walks up to Daikon. He bows at Daikon, and Daikon is like, "What is this that you're doing?" Daikon is impressed. Like, Daikon, he wants him some George, and George is like, he invites him again to his trailer later on that night, and George is like, "Okay." But he walks away, and he lets Lewis know that he was like, what he want. He said he want that motherfucker want me to go to his trailer after the prophecy. And he was like, of course, George Lewis laughs it all off. And George is like, I would shoot that, I would pop that motherfucker in his head. He basically, George is telling us he ain't with the shenanigans. He not doing no bobbing and weaving and none of that for Daikon. Daikon, he's so, y'all. Can they please just go and let Daikon get some more from somebody, because he is trying literally everybody. So anyway, we see these two there setting up everything, and in rolls the highest. Shout out to Rob Mumford, the highest, one of the guys that's carrying the chair of the highest on his, let's see, he would be on, facing the screen would be on the highest's right side. So shout out to Rob Mumford. Congratulations on your role. You have been in the Rockadoosh compound. You should be ready to come home now, brother. You've been on the Rockadoosh compound for a few seasons, probably since season 1. So salute and shout out to you guys. Anyway, y'all, I love my background extras. Anyway, my background actors. So anyway, the heist is coming in. They're ready to receive the prophecy. Elder Mother got a big cheesy grin on her face. The heist is like, I'm just so cool. Look at all these people respecting me and loving on me, and that's the heist. He's excited. This one particular girl that's sitting next to River, I wasn't like trusting her. Maybe it was just me, but she kept looking off to the side as if she knew that something else was coming. She knew that something else was coming. But anyway, in the prophecy on the front row, we definitely have Bridget, Laura, we got Joan, and we got Elder Mother Marva. And then on the opposite side, and then behind her, we see Lacey and Zane. But of course, y'all, if y'all notice, there is no Ruth. Also, shout out to Beta GA, the bald head dude over in the corner on the left hand side. Shout out to Beta GA. He's came and visited the Ruthless table, the Ruthless round table, as well as Ruthless conversation. So anyway, salute to all of you guys. Salute to all of y'all. Anthony, I see you back there too. Listen, this is like a whole class picture trying to find your friends. But anyway, salute to my background actors. Back to the story, y'all. The highest tells everyone throughout this prophecy that we are moving to a new heaven where there is running water and air conditioning, and the people are going wild. The crowd is going wild. Everybody is excited. And in the midst, like I said, y'all watch this girl sitting next to River. There's a moment. She's looking so adoringly at the highest, but then she looks over when Ruth is over talking to Manny. And Manny, basically, she's deboing her way into the trailer. Lewis looks at her and it's like, okay, I'm about to make my move. And then that's the sign. She goes into the trailer. She runs. gathering as much money as she can. She placed some money in a blanket on the floor, and then she's going to put a little bit of that money in that bag that is used to wash the feet of the highest. She is gathering all the money that she can. She runs out the back door as the highest is giving his prophecy, makes her way over to this car, drops that money off in the car, and runs back to the trailer of the highest. Again, we're seeing the prophecy that is still going on. The highest thinks that everybody is there for the love of him. When Ruth comes back out of the trailer, she looks at Lewis, gives him that look, and this is when it goes down. George and Lewis pull their blicky on the highest. Actually, Lewis pulls his blicky on the highest. George pulls his blicky on Daikon. Of course, everybody is looking shocked, like, oh my God, what is going on? George says to them, look, we tired of these shenanigans. We are leaving this compound. And anybody, y'all better put y'all weapons down, because if you don't, this motherfucker is going to get his head blown off, y'all. Oh my God. We finally got to see the stand down, the stare down, the pop off in the pavilion. Now, with that being said, y'all, I think that we have at least one more episode. I thought that this was going to be the last episode, but I think we have one more episode. And on that last episode, I think the DEA, the agents, the strike force, I think they're going to pull up on the compound. That's just my prediction. But anyway, what were your thoughts on the episode? What moment stood out most to you? Thank you all so much for tapping in, tuning in with your girl Tika Deshawn right here at All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts, and you already know, stay ruthless.